Hey, good morning, everyone. Adam
Good morning.
Lenneman, the
Good
Green
morning.
Executive.
Sarah here. So Adam,
Yes.
how big is yours?
Just two.
You know how big my favorite one is?
How big?
Only one.
Only one. Wow.
Only one.
So today we want to talk to you a little bit about your crew size and kind of how you form that out in the field and what your thought is behind that. So Sarah, what's your thought? What have you been seeing?
So,
and tell us a little bit more about
I
this.
really like a crew of one because my fertilization crew, they're the most profitable. And a lot of it is because it's one person. It's one person getting that windshield time, and only one person's necessary. You know, depending on the size properties you're doing, you don't necessarily need more than one person to go run on your FERT crew. A lot of times we see people who, it's the gamut, right? Some people have mow crews specifically that one-man show all the way up to 6 or 7 even.
Yeah.
And everyone's a little bit different in their preference in that. And of course, the types of properties you're doing make a big difference. But I have a good rule of thumb. If on that crew someone were to call in sick and you don't replace them for the day, the crew goes without them, do they get almost as much done? Or as much?
I would venture the bet that's the case.
I would venture to bet that's the case for a lot of people. So if someone calls in, and it's not an easy decision. Everyone's used to, hey, the guys, it's easier on the guys if we have 3, and it's easier on everybody if there's more people. Hey, I get that. And there might be a little pushback if you reduce your crew size. The numbers will tell you differently, and your gut will tell you differently. If someone calls in and that crew gets just about as much done, why are we paying for that extra person?
And that can be obviously a huge expense, someone's whole salary for the year. So think about that. You know, we're not saying necessarily for every situation and know your situation, how your setup is and which properties you have. But, you know, if you are going to a huge commercial property and going to be parked there all day,
It's a little different.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 or 4 guys is perfectly fine. But I know, for instance, that on our mowing crew, absolutely no more than 2 people on our mowing crew. We do a lot of residential.
The third guy does not pay.
It does not pay at all. So.
No. So just what we're doing is challenging you as you're setting your routes for this coming year and thinking about how many people you need to hire. Maybe you don't need another person, or maybe you don't need to add a crew. Maybe you can divvy them up. And if someone's left, then maybe you don't need to replace them. We're just challenging you to not just let status quo be status quo, because that's the way it's always been.
Sarah, what would you recommend, now that I'm thinking about this real quick, on, you know, what if people are like, well, what if so-and-so calls in sick? Then they're down to a crew of 1. How would that work?
Gotcha.
Or what's your thought there?
So that happens, right? When you run lean, that can definitely happen. And we've heard that from our own team, people are saying, hey, we really wish we had a spare person. And quite frankly, I'm not going to hire a spare person. Just be a spare. If I have work for someone, then I'm going to do that. So how do we deal with someone who calls in? We're short a day, and we try to make it up as best we can. And at the same time, we very much appreciate and rely on the guys that we do have.
So think about your crew sizes, right? And think about your routes, because that's right around the corner.
Absolutely. But it's going to snow today.
Yay!
Woo!
Take care, everybody. Have a good upcoming weekend. See ya.
Bye.